So in today's class, we are going to start with symbolic constant. Alright. So let's so regarding symbolic constant, what did we learn? If I want to define a symbolic constant, I need to use a preprocessor statement like hash define phi 3.14, right? And here you can write printf the value of phi is percentage. So if you compile it, and run it, it should give you value of pi is 3.14, right? And if you want to do pi plus plus, for example, what will happen? The compilation will give an error because this is a symbolic constant. This is defined as a symbolic constant, so you cannot increment it. Okay. Now there are some other ways also by which you can define constants. Okay, what are the other ways? Let's see. Suppose I want to define a constant such as the number of students in this class. Okay, so I want to write a program that will incorporate the number of students in this class. Okay. Now, number of students is constant in this class is constant. Okay, so I can either write hash define number of students. Otherwise, I can write constant int. Okay, number of students equal to 30. Okay, so basically you are using the constant keyword. Constant keyword means it is a constant. You also cannot increment it. Okay, so here also you can print the number of students in this class is percentage. So here pi plus plus I need to remove because it is giving an error. Other than that, it is working perfectly. So the number of students in this class is 30. Alright. Now this constant int you can either write here or you can write inside main also. Okay. Unlike the preprocessor statement, constant int can be defined inside or outside main. Okay. Both are allowed. Okay. So using this preprocessor statement as well as in constant keyword, you can define constants inside main or outside main. Now suppose you want to define a list of constant. Okay, so for example, Sunday equal to 1, Monday equal to 2, Tuesday equal to 3, in this way up to Saturday equal to 7. Okay, so you want to associate a constant with the days in a week. Okay, you need to associate a constant with the days of the week. Now you can define it like this: hash define Sunday 1, hash define Monday 2, hash define Tuesday 3, in this way. Or you can write constant in Monday equal to 1, constant in Tuesday equal to 2, in this way, right? But that is tedious, right? For 7 constants you need to write it 7 times, right? That is very tedious. Instead of that, C provides another way of writing an array of constant, which is by using enum keyword. Okay, enum say days, Sunday equal to 1, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So let's int I for I equal to sun, I less than equal to sat, I plus plus, 40, I. Okay. Let's see. So here, okay, let me print the next line so that control will come in the next line. All right. So here you can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is printed, correspond to Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay. So what's happening is that here I have used the enum keyword. Here Sunday is associated with 1, and as Sunday equal to 1, all the following variables will take the incremented value one after other. Okay, so that means if you write Sunday equal to 1, Monday is going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, you don't need to write it explicitly. Okay, if you want, you can write Monday equal to 2, Tuesday equal to 3 in this way, but you do not need to write if you use the enum keyword. Clear? If you do not write anything, okay, if you do not write anything, then Sunday will be initialized to 0 by default. Okay, if you do not write anything, then Sunday will be initialized to 0 and all the numbers are going to follow from 0. Okay? If you start with Sunday equal to 10, then it will start from 10. Clear? So in this way, the enum keyword works. If you want to define a series of constant or an array of constant, then instead of defining hash define Sunday 10, hash define Monday 1 in this way, where you need to repeat several times, you can use the enum keyword. Similarly, you can use enum keyword for mentioning the say month of a year. Okay, so enum months, you can write Jan equal to 1, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December. So here also you can print like this for I equal to Jan, I less than equal to December, I plus plus, 40, I. And here also, if you print it, it will be printed from 1 to 12. Okay, so 12 months of the year is enumerated. Okay, enumerated. That says enum means you are basically enumerating the corresponding variables to a numeric variable. Okay. So enum keyword is very useful in these kind of situations. Okay. Next, let's learn condition statement. Okay, condition statement, I'm sure you have learned in the previous classes. So let's learn what are the different ways we can use condition statement in C. So the simplest way you can define conditional statement is by using if-else statement. Okay. So So for example, you can write int n equal to 10 and then say if n is less than equal to 10, we are printing n is less than 10. Else if n is greater than 10 and n is less than equal to 50, you can write n is within 10 and 50. Else you can print n is more than 50. Okay. So in this way you can write the if else statement. So you can compile. So here n is less than or equal to less than or equal to 10. Okay, so this condition is satisfied. If n is 100, then you can see that n is more than 50. Okay, so this is the simplest way of writing conditional statement using if, else if, and else. Right? If, else, else. Okay. You can also use equality operator in equal to 10, equal to 10. Okay, in not equal to 10. So all these kind of operators you can use. Here I have used logical AND over here. If both of these condition is satisfied, then only this condition is true. If this condition is true, then this statement will get executed. Okay, so here I have used inequality statement greater than, less than, equal to, and all this. You can use equality also, or you can use not equal to also. Okay. All right. Another way you can use conditional statement is just by using switch statement. Okay. So switch statement only works for equality conditions. Okay, it is not going to work when n is less than equal to, greater than equal to something. Okay, so let's see. So switch n, and here you need to write different cases. So case say 10. In our case, let's start with 5. You can write n is equal to 5, and then you need to type break. Okay. Break means after printing this, it will come out of this body of the switch statement. Okay, it will come out of the, it will not execute the remaining part of the body, it will come out. Similarly, you can write case 10, print n is 10, take 20, 20, take, and then default means if none of these conditions will get satisfied, then you can print n is not 5, 10, 20. That's it. Okay, so here n is not 5, 10, or 20 because n is 100. If I put n equal to 10, you're going to print n is 10. So switch statement is used only for equality checking. It is not going to be used for less than equal to or greater than equal to kind of statement. So if n equal to 5, this statement will get executed, and then it is going to break from the remaining portion. If n equal to 10, it is going to print, and then it is going to break. After default, you don't need to write break because it is anyway at the end of the body. So after printing this, it is anyway going to come out. So there's no need for break. But for all the other remaining cases, you need to use break. Okay. So what will happen if you do not use break? Suppose here you do not use break. What will happen? What will happen is that after printing this line, it is going to go to the body of the next case. That means it is going to print this line and then it is going to break. Okay, it is going to basically print both n is 10 and n is 20 because it is going to print this line and then it is going to directly go to the body of the next case. So it is going to print this and then it is going to break. Okay, so you always need to remember to put break in case of a switch statement. This is very, very important. Okay, other than if else and switch statement, there is another way of using condition statement, which is by using ternary operator. Okay, so what is ternary operator? So ternary operator looks like this. Okay, question mark colon. All right, so let's see what does this mean. Suppose say in x equal to 10, and then we are writing int y equal to, if x is greater than equal to 10, then y equal to 50, otherwise y equal to 100. So here I have used the ternary operator. Okay, okay, ternary operator looks like this. Okay. So here the syntax is, if x is greater than equal to 10, so this line is equivalent to saying that if x is greater than equal to 10, then y equal to 50, else y equal to 100. Okay, if x is greater than equal to 10, then y equal to 50, else y equal to 100. Basically, one if else statement you are basically writing in a single line. Okay, so this is a very efficient way of writing if else statement. So you can write the value of y is %. So here the value of y is 50. Why? Because x is equal to 10. So the condition is satisfied. So y is equal to 50. Okay. If x is say 120 or something, then then also x is greater than equal to 110. Okay. So let's make it less than equal to 10. Say 5 or something. Then it is saying that y is equal to 100. Okay? Because this condition is false, so y is going to be equal to 100. Okay. So ternary operator provides a very efficient way of writing the if else statement. And not only that, using the ternary operator, you can write a function using a preprocessor statement also. Okay. So till now I have shown you that how to use preprocessor statement in case of constants, right? Hash defined by 3.4. But now I can show you that you can use preprocessor statement for writing functions also. Okay, and using a ternary operator, it becomes very, very efficient. So suppose, let's see how I want to define a function called minimum of a and b. Okay. So minimum of a and b I can write as, if a is greater than or if a is less than b, then return a, otherwise return b. Okay, that's it. Let's see whether it is working or not. So I can write that the minimum of 10 and 20 is %d minimum of 10, 20. Okay. Here I am basically invoking this function which I have declared as a in the preprocessor statement, and here I am passing two arguments 10 and 20. Okay, so 10 is, it is going to check whether 10 is less than 20 or not. If yes, it is going to return a, which is 10, otherwise it is going to return b, which is 20. Here, so here the minimum of 10 and 20 is 10. Here, if I change this number to -10 and 20, Then the minimum of minus 10 and 20 is minus 10. Clear? Minus 10 and minus 20 is minus 10 and minus 20 is minus 20. Okay. Okay. So till now, or in this program, I have used this break statement. Right? Break statement, as I said, that whenever you are writing break, that means it is coming out of the rest of the body of this statement. Right? Now this, the use of break not only is applicable for switch, it is applicable for loops also. Okay, so there are some other operators like break, continue, go to, okay, which is sometimes happens to be very useful. So let's see some example of this kind of statement: break, continue, and go to. Break, continue. Okay, so break, as I said, that whenever you are writing break, that means it is going to break from that loop or from that statement. That means it is going to come out of that loop or come out of that statement. So let's see. I value of I is percentage. So here it is printing from 0 to 10. Now suppose I do not want to print from 0 to 10. Suppose I am writing that if I is greater than equal to 5, then break. So that means if this condition is satisfied, then it is going to break. That means it is going to break this loop. Okay. So if you run this, it is going to print from 0 to 4, and after that this condition is satisfied, so it is going to break this loop. Clear? Okay. Now let's see what is continue. So suppose instead of printing from 0 to 10, suppose I only want to print the even integers. Okay, I want to print only the even integers. So you can do it by using if statement. If I mod 2 is equal to 0, then print the value. That is one way. Here I am showing you how to use continue operator for or continue statement for doing so. Okay. So here I can write if I mod 2 is not equal to 0, continue. So what it is saying is that here it is not going to break anywhere, it is going to iterate, but when I mod 2 is not equal to 0, that means I is an odd integer, then continue. Continue means do not execute the remaining portion of the body, rather continue to the next iteration. Okay, that means instead of printing, go to the next iteration. Okay, so if I run it, it is going to print all the even integers 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Because in case of odd integer, I have written continue. That means it is going to skip the remaining portion of the body of the loop and then go to the directly go to the next iteration. Clear? Okay. So other than break and continue, the another important operation is go to. Okay. So let's see. Suppose there are two integer arrays, say int a another one, say 8, 7. Error 2. Okay. So these are the two arrays. Now suppose I am asking you to check or write a program that is going to check whether there is any common element in between these two arrays or not. If there is any common element, then it is going to print the common element. Otherwise, it is going to print then there is no common element. Okay. So let's see. So I am initializing an integer find as 0. So initially I didn't find any common integer. If I find any common integers, then find will be set to 1. Otherwise it is 0. So let's see how I can check it. So I need to iterate through this loop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I plus plus. If array 1 of I is equal to array 2 of j, then I am setting find to 1. Okay, and then I am writing go to found. Okay, and then I am writing the label found somewhere else. And here I need to check whether this find is equal to 1 or not. If yes, then I am printing the common element is percentage. And the common element in this case can be either array 1 of I or array 2 of j, because both are the same. So array 1. And if it is not found, then after the iteration it is going to come out of the loop, and here I can print no common element. Okay. All right, so here I have used j. I need to declare it. So that's it. That is the use of go to statement. Once I find something, I'm going to this level. I'm going here, and here I am again checking whether find is equal to 1 or not. If 1, then common element is this. Otherwise, at the end of the loop, it is going to print there is no common element, because if it comes to the end of the loop, there is no common element. So the common element in this case is 23. Okay, 23 is there. In addition to that, 78 is also a common element. Okay, but the way the program is written, once it will find any common element, it is going to go to this level. That means it is going to come out of that. It is not going to search for the next set of common element. Okay, once it will find one single common element, it is going to come out of the loop. Right. Now let's change this to common element. Then you can see that there is no common element. Clear? Okay. Now one very important point that I want to make is that or after this label, you need to check this statement once more. Even if it is found over here, you need to check it once more, because if you do not write this statement, then what will happen is that both of these statements will be executed. Okay, because in this case it is not found, so it is printed over here, and after that it is going to go to the next line and printing something. Okay, so that shouldn't happen. After printing here, it will come here and it needs to check whether find is equal to 1 or not. If yes, then only it is going to print the common element. So that is one point. Second point is that this printf statement shouldn't come after found. Okay, because after the iteration, if it doesn't find anything, then only it is going to print. Otherwise, it is going to go in this level. Okay? If you print over here after found, then irrespective of whether you found or not, this statement will always get executed. Okay, if we just remove these two, then both of these statement will get executed, because after printing this, it is anyway going to come to here. Okay. The next thing that I am going to cover is recursion. Okay. We have learned functions, so recursion is basically a special kind of function. Okay. I'm sure you have learned recursion before. So what is the definition of a recursion? Can anyone tell me?
A function that calls itself.
Yeah, a function that calls itself, right? So recursion is a special function that calls itself. Okay, or it's a function that calls itself. Okay. So what is an example of a recursion? The simplest example is, say, factorial, right? So n factorial equal to n into n minus 1, n minus 2, up to 3, 2, 1, right? So here I can write this as n into n minus 1 to 1, I can write as n minus 1 factorial, right? So basically, if I write this in the form of a function, then factorial of n equal to n into factorial of n minus 1. So that's how it is a recursive call. One function is calling itself. Now, in any recursive call, there is a general case, there is a base case. Okay, in any recursive method, there is a general case, then base case. Okay, let's take this example, say 5 factorial. Okay, factorial of 5 is going to calculate 5 into factorial of 4, and then factorial of 4 is going to bring 4 into factorial of 3, factorial of 3, let's write dot, 3 into factorial of 2, factorial of 2 is going to bring 2 into factorial of 1, and factorial of 1 will bring 1 into factorial of 0, right? So this is the stopping point, because factorial of 1, factorial of 0 is going to be 1. So then it is going to, factorial of 0 will return 1. So you can calculate 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 into 1, which is equal to 120, right? So this is called the base case. So here the base case is factorial of 0 equal to 1. Okay, this is the base case, and this is the general case. Okay, base case and general case. Clear? Okay, so let's write this program quickly by using this base case and general case. Any factorial function will end with a base case, one or multiple base cases, and there will be general cases. Okay. So suppose you want to calculate the factorial of, so suppose this is the function factorial I, and it is going to return an integer, so let's call it f. This is the function that I am going to write, and then at the end it is going to print the factorial of f is percent d, factorial of percent d is percent d, factorial of I is f. Okay. All right. So this factorial function is returning an integer, and it is taking an integer. Let's call it n. So here I need to consider, as I said, base case and general case. So what is the base case? The base case is if n is equal to 0, it is going to return 1. Otherwise, in general, it is going to return n multiplied by factorial of n minus 1. And let's define the function prototype here. Okay, let's see. So factorial of 5 is 120. Okay. So basically factorial of 5 is calling factorial of 4. Factorial of 4 is calling factorial of 3. Factorial of 3 is calling factorial of 2. Factorial of 2 is calling factorial of 1. And factorial of 1 is calling factorial of 0. So in this case, it is going to return 1. Clear? Alright. So this is your base case. And this is the general case. Okay. And here also I have used if statement with equality operator. Yeah. Okay. Now let's see a different way of writing. So this is the way we can write a factorial function using recursion. Let's see how we can write a factorial function without using a recursion. Okay. So f equal to say factorial without recursion. Okay. And then I can print the same. Factorial without recursion. Factorial without recursion is very simple. Basically, from 5 to or n to 1, you need to multiply the numbers, right? So say int 5, and for I is equal to n, I greater than 0, I minus minus. Here instead of increment, I am using the decrement operator, my minus minus. You can write fact equal to fact minus multiplied by r. Here fact, and then you can return the fact. So here also it is showing that 5, a factorial of 5 is 120. Okay. All right. Now let's see. Let me write the program. This part in a slightly interesting fashion. Say, let's see while loop. So while n is greater than 0, fact equal to fact multiplied by n minus minus. So in the previous class we have learned these operators, all these things, right? Suppose I want to use those concepts over here. Instead of writing it in this fashion, I'm not using any other variable I over here. I'm just writing while n is greater than 0, I'm writing fact equal to fact into n minus minus. So that means it is doing two things. First, it is doing fact equal to fact into n, and then n minus minus. So should also give the correct output. Okay, so here I have basically written the same thing, just a different way of writing using the postfix operator. Okay. So till now, whatever I have shown is how to pass values to functions, right? I have shown you how to pass integer value, how to pass floating point value, how to pass multiple values to a functions also I've shown you. But we didn't learn how to pass an array, how to pass an array of integers, how to pass an array of characters, right? I basically shown you how to pass individual value, integer n, integer I, integer p, all these things. But I didn't show you how to pass an array. So let's slowly learn things in more detail. Suppose I want to pass an array to a function. So let's see what is the syntax. Pass array. Okay, so let's start with integer array. Okay. Suppose I have an integer array that is storing say 10, 20, 30 or something. Now I want to write a function that is going to take this array and will add all the elements of this array and return me the sum of all the elements. Okay, so I want to write a function that is going to add the elements and return the sum. So basically I want to write a function sum of array, and I'm going to pass something, and this is going to return the sum which I am going to print. The sum of the arrays. So here I am going to write the sum of array. Okay, I'm going to pass something. So here I need to pass two things. I'm coming to the details why I need to pass two things. One is the array name. Okay. Another is the length of the array. That means the number of elements of the array. Okay. How to calculate the length? We have already learned. The length of the arrays can be calculated by using size of operator function. Size of the array divided by size of one element of the array. Right? So here I need to pass two things: array name and length. Okay. Okay. So here array name in C we are going to learn in more detail later on from pointers, but array name denotes the address of the first element of the array. Okay, array name points to the first element of the array, or array name stores the address of the first element of the array. Clear? Okay. So from this understanding, can you tell me that why do we need to pass the length as well in addition to the array name? So let's learn this a little more detail. Okay, so what's happening is that in the memory location, memory is byte addressable, so there are different locations in the memory space, right? And in the memory space, even if you are not running anything, there is some junk value that is always there in your memory, right? So suppose your array is 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. But other than that, in addition to this also, memory always consists of bits and bytes, right? Some zeros and ones. So maybe this is 100, 120, 150. So some 250. Some values are always present in your memory. Memory is not empty, right? Now you are passing the array name. As I said, that array name means array name stores the address of the first element. That means array name stores the address of n. Okay. Now I am giving the information to a function, and I am saying that add all the elements. Okay, can your function calculate the sum? The answer is no, because your function knows the array name. The function knows the starting point, but it doesn't know that from here how many numbers it needs to add, right? So for doing that, or for calculating that, you need to tell that my array consists of 5 elements. Then only it is going to add this 5 element. Okay, so just passing the array name is not sufficient to calculate the sum of that array in case of an integer array. For other types of array, I'm coming in a minute. Only consider integer array. In case of an integer array, just passing the array name is not sufficient. You need to pass the length, because array name stores the address of the first element only. Okay, so here I am passing two things: array name and the length. Okay, here I am basically declaring new array. Okay, in a new integer array. Okay, okay. So basically, a corresponds to arr. All right. So int I, or I is equal to 0, I less than length. Okay, now I know the length of the array. I plus plus sum equal to sum plus a of I. Return sum. Here I need to initialize sum to. Okay. And let me declare the function prototype. Okay. So the sum of the array is 150. This is 50, 30 and 20 is also 50, and 40 and 10 is also 50. So 350 makes 150. Clear? Okay. So now we have understood that you need to pass two arguments when it comes to an integer array. You need to pass the array name and the length. Okay. Now the next question is, can I calculate the length over here in this function? In this function, can I calculate the length? So suppose I am saying that no, I will not pass the length. I will only pass the array name and I'm going to calculate the length over here. Will it work? Because instead of passing the length, I'm basically calculating the length over here and then I'm running this. Will this work? So as I said that the array name stores the address of the first element. So array name stores the address. So here A basically stores the address, right? Array name stores the address. So here A is basically storing the address of the first element. So here size of A means size of address by size of a integer. Okay, so if I run this, okay, yeah, so this thing just forget, because this size of is returning long, so forget about this. So if I run this, we'll see that the sum of the array is 30. 30 means it has only added 2 elements. Okay, and if I print the length is The length is saying as 2 byte. Why 2 byte? As I said that array name stores the address of the first element. So here A is basically the size of an address by size of an integer. So size of an address is 8 byte, or this is a 64-bit computer. 64-bit computer, the address is 64-bit or 8 byte. So size of an address is 8 byte, size of an integer is 4 byte that we have learned in the previous class. So 8 by 4 is showing us 2. So here a length is 2, so 0 less than 2, that means first two elements will be added. First two element is 30, that's why it is showing 30. Okay. So in case of an integer array, you cannot calculate the length over here. You cannot imagine that you will pass the array name and then you will calculate the length over here. Calculating length over here and calculating length over here are two different things. Even if the syntax and everything is the same, calculating length inside a called function and calculating length inside a calling function is completely different. Clear? This you need to always remember. This is very important concept, so I have tried to show things in detail. So let's rectify this. Okay. Now tell me, this is in case of an integer array. Now tell me that suppose I want to do some operation for a character array. Do I need to pass the length? Suppose there is a character array, char string equal to hello world. And here I am just writing a function print string. In addition to the array name, do I need to pass the length or not? Suppose I want to print all the characters in this character array. Do I need to pass the length? What do you think?
Yes,
Why?
because if you don't, it'll have a size in the other method.
Okay. But we do not know it is true that if I do not pass the length, I cannot directly tell the size, how many elements, how many characters I need to print. But we know that character array, there is a difference between character array and integer array. What is the difference?
Doesn't it have like a special character at the end?
Yes. So I do not know the length, but I know that if I keep printing the characters, I will encounter a null character or a special character, and that will determine the length of the array. That will determine the end of the array. So I do not need the length. So in case of character array, what's happening? This is your memory space. And here you are writing hello world. And after hello world, you know that there is a special character called termination character. So you're passing the address of the first element. Okay. But in this case, we do not need the length, because if I start printing character by character, I'm going to keep printing it until and unless I reach the special character at the end. That will determine the end of the array. In case of integer array, there is no special character, so I definitely need the length. In case of character array, I do not need the length, because I know that if I know the starting point, I know that the ending point is here. Clear? So character array, you do not need to pass the length. Clear? So if I just use the address of the first element, let's see whether I can write this function. Void print string, and then here character. I'm basically using the same syntax. And then I am saying that int I for I is equal to 0, string of I is not equal to special character I plus plus int %c string of I. Okay, so that's it. So here I do not need the length. In case of integer array, I need the length. In case of character array, I do not need the length. I will check until unless I will print until unless string of I is equal to the null character. Okay, so let's see whether this works or not. So you can see that it is working perfectly. Hello world. Okay, if I change the string also, hello world. So everything is printed perfectly. Clear? In fact, instead of writing these two statements, I can directly print %s string. This will also in the same thing, because whenever I am writing %s, printing %s, basically this same function, these two lines is getting executed by the compiler. That it is printing character by character unless it is reaching the last statement. Okay. Alright. So the difference between passing character array and integer array or double array is that in case of integer array or in case of numeric array, you need to pass the length. Okay. In case of character array, you do not need to pass the length of that.